Hey kids, welcome to Friday with Talk Time with Amy and Kelly. She's also here. Let's bring up Kelly.
Hi,
Hey Kelly.
Woo.
Hi, woohoo. Happy Friday, girl.
I know. I'm so glad it's Friday. I woke up this morning. I told my husband, I'm like, why do I have to get up early again?
I know. Hey Kimba baby. How you doing? We have a very, very special show for you guys tonight.
I'm so excited for the show.
I know, me too. Hey, Nick. We have a very special guest here with us tonight, making, I believe, his YouTube debut.
He's done a couple, but not in our...
Oh, he has. Okay. And not in our realm?
Yeah.
Gotcha. So I take that back. I didn't know that. All right. Yeah. So we have a lawyer with us tonight. I know. Me too, Kimba. Kimba. Me too. And I'm excited to get his. I'm thinking about getting maybe some Karen Reed in here too. So, how about we? Who's it? Hi, Cheryl with an S. Good to see you. Obviously Kevin from South Boston.
By the way, Kevin, if my son says I want to be Kevin from South Boston again in the next 24 hours, I'm sending him to you.
Kevin cracks me up. Actually, he reminds me of, like, I don't know. He's hysterical.
Crazy.
Hysterical. I'm just gonna let some people roll on in here. I see. Yeah, Nikki's in here. Okay, we got Tahil. Hi, Tahil. All right. Yeah, Kevin is the man. He's hysterical. Oh, we got Toots. Hey, Toots. Good to see you, Mama.
He also made me buy shoes because their style was Boston and told me if I didn't support my friends or Karen Reed.
So funny. So. Declan's a cutie. Declan is a cutie.
I'm so excited for this interview.
Yeah, me too. So without further ado, we have as a guest tonight the happily angry lawyer from X. Hey, welcome. Hi. Welcome.
Hey, this is my first Karen Reed YouTube appearance.
First free Karen Reed.
Welcome.
Yeah. Be careful. Yeah, I would be careful because they're gonna come after you now.
No, I told them to leave me alone. That's how this started.
Well,
I said one nice thing to Leslie. And then they attacked. Yeah. And then I wasn't gonna back down, so here we are.
My man, there you go. Absolutely. I feel the same way.
For yourself in like a week. You were like, I'd never seen you, and then all of a sudden we all saw you. We were like,
then we all saw you. Yeah, absolutely. So what got you pulled into the Karen Reed case?
I don't even know. I kind of knew it was going on pretty much from the start. I was vaguely aware of it. I don't know when I started watching it. It was I probably got clickbaited into watching some clip about Proctor or something like that. And I watched Emily Baker's coverage the first time through. Maybe Trooper Paul. He is a place in my heart.
You mean you're gonna learn ballet? You're gonna learn how to pirouette and then do.
I just want to know like what he really believes. I should give him like because it's not out of the realm of possibility that he actually believes that there are like pirouettes involved.
Well, I think it's funny because one of the things that I've loved since the beginning was, I don't know if you've heard who Auntie Deb is, but he's a character on YouTube, TikTok, YouTube, and X. And he said he plays all the characters. So he'll do like a mashup. And he'll play Auntie Beth the judge. He'll play Jen McCabe, Matt McCabe. Like he has all the characters and puts a mashup together. And the other one, he had one for Jessica Hyde, the computer lady. And Jessica Hyde took over his stream one day. And she was like, Trooper Paul, you and Colin start working on those sight words now. We need those sight words to be learned now. Like, it was so funny. I was like, the sight word thing just got me. Once that happened, I was like, that's it. Colin and him are on sight words. It's trouble. Hey, Scott. So, yeah. So what is it? What's the most thing that draws your attention that you would like to talk about with Karen Reed right now?
Right now, I'm looking at the Karen Reed cell phone seizure and search, and we know it was seized on the 29th.
Right.
But I don't really buy the timeline that the Commonwealth, really Proctor, put forward about getting the warrant. I mean, they did get the warrant for the phone on the 2nd, and then there was the infamous Proctor searches in August where he said some things. Things were said.
Things
Things were said.
Yeah. But
some people consider it locker room talk. I consider it rude, but whatever.
I've never heard anyone say stuff like that in locker rooms. So that's just weird. That's not.
It's weird behavior. You're right.
Especially for a bleed detective in a murder case.
Yeah. Even like the lowest guy on the totem pole too.
Yeah.
It's just reminding me of something I want to talk about later.
You write it down. We got it.
I'm going to. I got
So,
it. Anyway, yeah, cell phone. If you look at the testimony, Proctor always says he's looking through the phone, and at one point, Lally tries to coach him back to say extraction, and Proctor doesn't pick up on it, and he keeps saying phone. And the rationale
that's a really good
is
catch.
He said he stopped looking through the phone because he saw the text from Nianetti, but the state secured the cell phone records by warrant, like in the first couple of days after the John O'Keefe's death. So they should have had access to all the text messages right away. So they should have known that there were texts between.
Yeah, because they just extracted Brian Walsh's within 24 hours. And you know,
so,
and with Turtle Boys, they have had it a year, and they still are like,
returned,
"Oh, we haven't extracted anything." Okay, we don't believe that. So
yeah, but the rationale for why he was looking through the phone doesn't make sense. That it wasn't extraction doesn't really make sense. I think Lally knows. I'm not practicing in Massachusetts, so I can say that.
Yeah.
And
amen. Yep.
Yeah.
I think Lally knows about a lot.
Yeah.
So what do you think about the case in general now, since you learned of the case and you kind of knew a little bit of it, doing more and more research like Trooper Paul, and have you, being a practicing lawyer, have you ever seen, well, I mean, I know you've seen some crazy cases, you've been a part of some crazy cases that we're going to get to later, but what, have you ever been a part of something like this? Have you ever seen an investigation so bad? What are your general takeaways, and the fact that she's being retried? What say you?
Yeah. Okay. First of all, I haven't really done much criminal work at all. I do more appellate stuff.
Okay.
So that's kind of where we'll get to the stuff later, but that's kind of where that comes in. But no, God, no, that's, I don't even know where to start. The solo cups would probably be as good a place as any.
Yeah.
The leaf blower, come on. The leaf blower in the cups.
Just a heater. You just need a heater. Anyone who's been ice fishing knows.
A Stop and Shop.
Why not? Yeah.
That, by the way, was used. How do we know if there's not like pork in the bottom of it? And that's how we got pig DNA.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So your question was big picture about the case. I think it's interesting in that I said this when I first started tweeting about the case, and people got mad at me because I didn't really explain it very well. But in a lot of ways, it's a simple case because you don't need to go that deep. I mean, I didn't need to go that deep to get to not guilty, just because you get to the solo cups and Proctor not taking the cell phone handling seriously and driving by the house randomly and seeing pieces of plastic in the front yard
that magically appears.
Yeah, and it's just not a serious investigation, and so all the evidence is compromised, and there's nothing that can be done to salvage it at this point. So on that level, I think it's pretty simple. But then you can go as far as you want to down any number of rabbit holes and trying to figure stuff out. There's definitely a lot of opportunities to.
I feel like
as crazy as you want.
My question for you is, as a lawyer, have you seen the amount of public investigations of their own involved in a case before like this? Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, I'm definitely not the guy to ask, but let me see. The YSL trial had quite a bit of public. It's actually a funny story. One of the defense lawyers was trying to hide like a gotcha moment in some video evidence, and one of the YouTubers figured it out, and several of them did. They all kept tweeting about it, and the defense lawyer was trying to suddenly get them to shut up so the state can get tipped off about this. He wanted to use it in his closing arguments, but nobody would shut up because nobody got the hint, and they ruined his surprise.
That's crazy.
Wow.
But not, I'd say not like the sort of the
amount.
Not in the same way.
Yeah.
Not as much depth.
Like I saw, there's one YouTuber, I don't even remember his name. Recovery Addict. He does a lot of lawsuits and stuff, and he was covering the case of the lady who was just, I don't remember her name now, but she was just arrested for murdering her husband. She was trying to blame her son. And they couldn't find the gun or whatever, the 34 pistol. And it happened to be somebody was in the case that was someone she cared for, like in chat that she cared for. And it was her gun that was missing. And so she called the prosecution and told them. So like he got pulled like completely into the trial at the same time. So that was kind of interesting. But
absolutely.
I don't know how, like, on my brain, because I am just a girl in Florida compared to someone who does this every day. Like, I don't know what you're thinking when you see all this stuff. If you're just like, people are crazy, they don't know what they're talking about, or if they should even try to do the stuff that they're doing.
I mean, law school doesn't really prepare you for. This is me.
Yeah. That is you. This is him. You guys can find him on X by Happily Angry Lawyer. Go and I don't know, follow. I think it's over there. Go over there and follow him. He's hysterical. Go ahead. By all means.
I can find it and put it in chat.
Yeah. Sure. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh man, I completely lost my train of thought.
That is his actual handle.
What was it? I completely blanked.
Kelly, what did what was your question? Just to refresh his memory about where he was going.
The amount of people that are involved, like sleuths, the internet sleuths that are doing it, and how, like, if they even should be doing it or not doing it, or if they're causing more problems or they're actually helping. Like,
no, I don't think they're. I mean, I shouldn't say like absolutely nobody's ever caused problems, because there are lines that you shouldn't cross. But if you're going through Secretary of State filings, and you find this LLC that dissolves a couple of days after the murder of John O'Keefe, involving a couple of people that are prominently involved in the investigation and the trial, that definitely adds value. And even if nothing comes of it, it's definitely worth exploring.
Well, and I've noticed lately, like with more trials, the lawyers are watching Reddit and YouTube and X and all, Facebook and all of that stuff. So they're actually using that stuff. So
yeah, they definitely are. One of the defendants in there was somebody named Vera, and I think Court TV in the YSL trial, and she was notoriously like the anti-defendant, pro-prosecution. Like, everybody knew her, and one of the defendants got essentially acquitted. He made a YouTube video and directed to Vera, just gloating about the fact that he was free. It was a delight.
Yeah.
But Yeah, I know for a fact that lawyers look at that stuff because, 1,000 minds are always
Right.
good.
Absolutely, and it gets your point across out there, and kind of like you're able to get actually. So, speaking of Court TV, Julie Grant is the Karen Reed form of that, right?
I can't stand her. I have to like.
Yeah.
I have to turn. I can't. I don't even like Court TV though. Like, I think you said that too. You were like Court TV kind of.
I didn't say that.
No, you never.
Yeah, no. I probably said
No.
it. I used to watch Court TV all the time, and then I started with the Karen Reed movement, or the Karen Reed story, and then I started watching a lot more YouTube and getting kind of like unbiased. No one's paying anybody to say one way or another, and I really got into the evidence and seeing what the case was really about, because being from here, I remember the night that it all happened and what was told on the news, and I remember thinking like, oh my god, that poor guy and that poor woman. I can't imagine like hitting my boyfriend in a, they said that there was footage, and there was like this, there was that, and then it ended up not being true at all. So, and then Court TV, they get paid to say whatever the network, well, I'm not even going to go there, but nonetheless, yeah, so
didn't they have that up
Karen
for like a year? They had it up on the news that they had footage of it. Like, and then all of a sudden that they had footage. They had it on the news in Boston for like a year that there was footage of her hitting him.
Yeah, it was said that there was ring camera footage that of her hitting him from across the street, when in actuality there was no footage whatsoever, because all the cameras conveniently didn't work that night. So
it's the night the cameras went out and can't of all of them.
Yeah. So you doing appellate work, what do you see as, from what you know about the case? I know you're not probably, you were saying that you don't probably know as much as us that have been so invested for 2 years, but from what you do know of the case and the emotions that have gone on, and all of the tomfoolery, what are your thoughts on reasons that it would, say if she was, heaven forbid, convicted, because you never know with this with Norfolk County or the Dedham Superior Court. What do you think are some of the things that stand out that would hold up in appellate in appeals?
I haven't really thought about that yet. Let me see. I mean, the one that comes right to mind was the potential Brady issues. That's a tough hill to climb, just because it's a high standard to meet to prevail on Brady. And but if there were going to be a case, this is certainly one of the ones that it would be, because I think in this case it's interesting because Proctor affirmatively downloaded all those 6-hour chunks of video footage. So
can you believe it?
From the Sally Port, I mean, which means it was important to him. He thought it was material to some degree, and so it's kind of a self-proving materiality thing. And then not turning it over is impeachment.
I know. I was telling Amy the other day. I felt like it was like the Alice in Wonderland with paper. It said it's like eat me or drink me. Like all of a sudden, that's how Bukkake was told to get it and take it. It was like all of a sudden it appeared. I don't know where it came from. It just showed up, and so I watched it. But I feel like with the like the motions to dismiss that's been happening right now, like with the Brady violations, is there even do you think there's even a possibility that she's going? I don't think she's going to dismiss this case, but do you think that she would? Do you think that
or should?
Like,
I mean, I think she should, but it's always safer to not dismiss and let it go to trial, because you'll never get in trouble for letting it go to trial. Well, I shouldn't say never, but very rarely we get in trouble for letting it go to trial, because that's, if you let the person have their day in court, then it's hard for them to say that they weren't treated fairly, even if they weren't treated fairly. That being said, she has a really easy scapegoat available in Michael Proctor, where
sounds like that's what they were trying to do on the other day was put it on Proctor.
It sounds like the Commonwealth's using him as a scapegoat. Oh, it's Proctor.
Well, and next is his hearing for the third hearing for his for internal affairs stuff about his job. So
how hard is it to get fired?
Apparently it's hard. Apparently you have to go through a bunch of meetings, and I think they're playing kick the can too, so that they can't say that the lead investigator was fired due to his conduct and behavior as a lead investigator of the Karen case, right? I mean, even if the defense can still call him, right, and they can still say you've been suspended for quite a while due to your behavior in the but he can also say no, they haven't made a decision and blah blah blah. So I think that's strategic that they're kicking the can until Karen's over. But that's
he's part of a union, so he's protected by the union.
Yeah, for sure.
That's a big part of it too. But I feel like, he's not even being called to testify as a lead investigator. They're not even calling to testify and him to testify in the Walsh case now. Proctor, Tully, and Buchanan have all three been squashed off testifying on the Walsh case. That's a huge case. So it's like, what does that tell you? If they don't have the I don't know, faith in what their own Massachusetts State Police did, they won't even call them to the stand when they're the ones who were lead detective and the investigators on the case. Like that to me, that something says so much, and that to me feels like Brian Walsh could walk, but I also feel like they're putting so much and they're doing so much crap that it's just so scary for Karen. Like I literally freak out. Like is this gonna happen? Is she gonna? I don't think she'll be convicted. I don't want her. She didn't do it. I know she didn't do it, but like the way that they're spinning things and the way that things are biased and turn around, it makes me feel like there's like this scary chance that she could get convicted for it.
I think that they're not going to be able to keep Proctor off the stand. And I think it's almost worse if the defense calls him, because if you put on your entire case and then the chief investigator comes up and you go through all that stuff, I mean, that's.
But the jury said they didn't even take it as discrediting as the part of his investigation. They said, well, he apologized. And that's what Ronnie said on Turtle Boy. He said that they apologized. And so they were like, oh, it didn't affect his credibility to them. And I'm
that's
like,
interesting.
What?
So that's interesting. I could kind of see that if they thought that they were kind of over emphasizing the text and not talking enough about how he was texting with his friends when he was supposed to be supposedly supposed to be examining the cell phone.
Yeah, I mean, and the fact that they had her.
Question for you.
Go ahead, Amy.
How do you? So you say you were doing appellate work, and this is something that I have a question that I'm yearning to know. Lieutenant Fanning is part of the Massachusetts State Police, I believe, right? And he is head of the officers at the courthouse. And he was a part of the text messages of trying to find Karen nudes. So, and Hank is up there battling that he didn't touch the jury. He didn't, nothing. And then, I loved how Alan Jackson said, but Your Honor, how do we know that he didn't touch anything? And not for nothing, even indirectly being associated with the jury and those text messages and Proctor and Buchanan. And I think that's the first time I've ever called him Buchanan. You guys know I'm on my best behavior. Buchanan and Tully and everything, and they're all in cahoots. Is that even a reason right there to dismiss the case, or will that be a big appellate issue if she is convicted?
With Fanning?
The Fanning thing, yeah. So Lieutenant Fanning, sorry, go ahead. My bad.
Yeah. I think the hard thing would be showing, like, figuring out exactly what the prejudice is. You kind of sense that there's prejudice, but you need to sort of articulate exactly, this juror was influenced in this way by Fanning.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Certainly,
So you have to be.
yeah, certainly it looks bad, and
Yeah.
it would definitely be mentioned. And if you can pile up enough things like that just don't look good, like having the guy who deletes his text messages and doesn't see text about nudes on, your work
I was
group
on
chat.
vacation,
Right. He replied, I believe. Like it's not like he it was like left on red. Like he replied, and that's
So
his
he
boss.
replied and he liked it. I think he liked
He liked.
comment.
Oh, maybe he hearted it. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Whatever. I mean, he still acknowledged it, right? So you're
But
saying that there has to be more detail about the jury. Even if they were responsible for the because they were able to take notes during trial, and the trial cops or police were responsible to put those in a locker at the end of the night. And then okay, hold on, wait, I just thought of something. So he was the reason why that juror that was clearly free Karen Reed was let go, supposedly. And his story of her being at a restaurant the night before, and Bev just kind of was like, okay. So would that be a direct detail? And then, I mean, I guess no one went to the bar to find out if she was actually there or not or whatever. But he was directly involved with getting a woman that was clearly disgusted with Proctor and off the jury right before deliberations.
Yeah, that would be the sort of thing that would.
Okay.
I don't know exactly what you put that under, because I haven't really
Well,
thought that one before, but it's definitely something.
What Melanie
Okay,
was
all right.
saying the other day is that because she's like the head justice for like the administration part of it, for the court administration, that because she made the decision to put Fanning in charge of security, even if it's outside, like all of security of the court security, and that's indirectly, that it could actually affect her judicial immunity because she made the wrong choice administratively, is what Melanie was saying.
Judges have such broad immunity. As long as it's within sort of the scope of their job, they'll typically have immunity. So even though that definitely is more administrative than, wearing robes and sitting on the bench.
Where does that line draw when you say broad immunity? Where does that line go? Because everyone says it's broad, but like, so is the spectrum. I mean, we can all be on the spectrum at one in some cases. So it's like, where is that line?
It's everything. It's short of like criminal levels of corruption. It's really difficult to breach that immunity, or
to prove it.
Evade that immunity. Yeah.
Okay.
Who you pick for security I don't think it's going to get you there, unless it's a hitman or something. That would get you there.
God, with this case, you never know, honey. I don't know.
Hey.
Yeah. You never know.
It's like one day you feel like everything's going good for Karen, and the next day you just feel like you got punched in the back of the head, and the next day it's like, oh, here we are again, and then like the whole thing, like today. So it's like, it's just frustrating. I don't think I've ever been as emotionally involved in a case as I am with this case, and I'm not even there. So
yeah, I think it's clearly personal for everybody. Not everybody, but I think
when you get into it.
Yeah. Well, and some people on the anti side, not to bring them up, but some of them are just trial followers that literally grab on to the one side they know is going to be the most what do you call it? Dramatic, I guess, and like not ever. It's gonna be like the less people like, I guess. And so for me, it's like I feel like there's certain people. Like there's one that is on X, and I'm sure she has commented on your stuff. I was blocked from her before she even spoke to me. So I mean, I've done that to a few of them. I felt pretty good that a few of them have blocked me before I've even said hi. So I didn't know what that was about, but she came up from the Murdoch trial, and she was a big troublemaker. So much to say on X with the Murdoch trial and stuff like that. So, and now it's the same thing.
The Murdoch trial was fascinating.
Yes, it was.
Really. I missed that one. I missed a bit on that.
Me too. Me too. I spent every day. I mean, like, it was kind of like I am with Karen Reed, right? And then Becky Hill, because like, look at Becky Hill, right? Who's to say that the clerk of court can't be, you know, right there. And but they found her out, and I don't even know if she ever got charges. I stopped following after a while, but
didn't she plagiarize the book?
She did. Yeah.
It was.
So does there anyone here that has any questions for Jim here regarding the Karen Reed before we kind of move on to his specialty? He was the lawyer during the RICO case, the YSL RICO case.
I actually just started.
You just started.
Oh, you just started. Oh, you just started.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So I mean, but you're a part of it. I mean, I'm sure you know all about it. Yeah.
I know parts of it. There's a lot.
There's a lot. There's years of it.
It's the longest trial in history with like the most defendants I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like
I forgot about. I was talking with Kat Not Williams. She does like trial coverage. But we were talking about the YSL. There's another YSL trial because they didn't get to all the defendants, and I was just trying to brush up, and I completely forgotten about some of these defendants.
That's
yeah. So
I don't even think honestly that I know all of them.
Yeah,
I don't.
No.
So.
And I mean, the judges, weren't there like 5 judges? And there was like lawyers help. We'll get there. We'll get there. Ask him if Karen can sue if she is never acquitted. Oh, so if there's like another mistrial, if they keep having hung juries, etc. Yeah. That's interesting.
I mean, anybody can sue.
Trying her? Can't they just keep trying her?
Yeah.
Can't they just keep trying her if they want to?
Yeah, there's a guy named Curtis Flowers in Mississippi, and I think he got tried 5 or 6 times, and it was by the same prosecutor every time. That's eventually the Supreme Court. But
there's one on Netflix.
Eventually, you said it went to the Supreme Court, and what ended up happening? Do you know the outcome of that? 5 times?
I don't remember exactly how they framed it, but there's the same prosecutor all 5 times, and he was clearly, he should not have been trying the case.
And too deep.
It was 8-1, and they said, "We will never do this again. This is a one-time thing, but you need to fuck off. Like, stop trying this guy."
I love that. I love that. At least
I feel like I just wanted to. I don't know how people can do that though. Like, how do they have the money to defend themselves? Like, if like even Karen said, if it weren't for supporters donating, she would
Well, Karen has private lawyers. Like he would get a public defender, right? I mean, that's.
Yeah, I think he probably had a public defender the first time or two, but then I think it was probably
people
ACLU or.
Oh, okay.
At some point, people jump in. Like, I mean, Alessi, he's doing it I think they're all working pro bono now. So, speaking of that, that's a segue into you and how you're associated.
Wait a minute. Hold on. I have one more question for you. And then, do you think the feds are not actually done? Could there be some RICO and mass with the players in these shenanigans?
I mean, I never really believe they're done. In my experience, they don't really just like, wipe their hands of the case and
they don't call the chief of police
and
can't say, "Hey, you're no longer no one's under investigation anymore."
No, I mean, especially with the Sandra Birchmore stuff going on, they're not going to tell local law enforcement what they're doing. That's insane. That's like a large part of the FBI is looking at the police, and a lot of them really love doing that. Like, there's plenty of FBI corruption, but a lot of them really love going after the police. And there's clearly an ongoing issue with corruption in the area.
Yeah.
And I don't know what I'm talking about, but just from an outside perspective, I think that's insane that they would tell. It's more likely that they're lying than that.
Well,
they
and this,
told
like I was telling you the other day, so like it was the 18th that they had Liza Little said it in court that the court was still, or the investigation was still going. The 19th is when Hank stood up and said that he received a phone call less than 24 hours later. The 21st on Friday, good old Plevin, or if you don't know who Plevin is, Yellow Cottage Tales. Don't go to the cottage. We can't save you from the cottage. Stay away from the cottage is all I can tell you. He announced it and said that it was done, that they had been contacted and it was done. So he thought he was like this major man news guy dropping this bomb. Then the 24th, the news reported it, but Brennan didn't tell the defense anything until the 26th, and he admitted that on the stand.
Neither did the feds.
Yeah,
I don't think
Neither did the feds.
and I mean, I don't imagine they love Brennan all that much based on their.
his last job.
We don't need to go into that, but
That's a fair assessment, honey. That is a fair assessment. And I think from all accounts, Hank doesn't like them either. Okay, so we have another question. What?
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Can we do it? What do you think of all the outside distractions like Rubber Ducky Gate and the Turtle Boy case? Do you think it's just desperate tries on the Commonwealth's part?
Okay, I'm only vaguely aware of the Rubber Ducky Gate. I know there's something about
So we can kind of
Collins, I think.
Yeah, so
I mean, that doesn't matter.
A guy named Rich Schiffer who lives in Stoughton, but his business is in Canton. He owns a fence company. And he bought a bunch of rubber duckies and had stickers made that said Colin did it on some of them and free Karen Reed on the other. And he would drop them around town on the streets and outside pizza places and things like that. And they did a 6 months investigation, 6 months investigation with a 34-page report where they actually picked the ducks up. Buchanan picked it up with a tweezer and put it in an evidence bag. They did more of an investigation than they did on an officer's death. Let's put it that way. And then they charged him.
Yeah, no, they did. They did more of an investigation trying and do the rubber duckies than they did anything for a fallen officer. Point blank.
Charged him with felony witness intimidation, and then like 6 counts of littering.
Oh, okay.
But the judge threw the witness intimidation out. He did get charged with littering, but.
And you know about Turtle Boy from what your tweet about so what about Turtle Boy being a journalist?
I saw I know who he is. I mean, I knew about him before I even started following the case. Really, he's a pretty well known character.
Me too.
I'm sorry. So when I got my only underage drinking, I also got a citation for littering. I was out with a Solo cup and I was like trying to get away.
Those damn I know those damn Solo cups.
They're always
can't be trusted. Out. Yeah,
littering.
Littering.
Anyway, yeah. So, Turtle Boy. I don't know how much of it distracted. It's something going to make finding a jury a lot harder. Not him specifically, but just all the attention the case has gotten. So it's definitely going to distract the case in that sense. And you never know. I mean, jurors, I'm sure there can be jurors who know the case that aren't going to let on in jury selection that they know.
Oh, 100%.
Did you watch any of the motion to dismiss for Turtle Boy the other day?
Which most recent one? I didn't hear.
Yeah, for his motion to dismiss.
Yeah.
Like that judge to me seemed like he was more on not on the fence of I think he's more on the First Amendment rights side of it, and he doesn't think that they have a case is what I saw out of it. I mean, if they even kept some charges, but most of those charges should go. I mean, at least I think. And then that was the other question I had, like, because Mark Betterow was denied, if that case was dismissed, could Mark Betterow jump on to Karen Reed's case? If apply again?
I think so. Yeah. As long as it's with prejudice. I think it would be fine. I'd have to check the Massachusetts rules, but
what if Turtle Boy fired him? Like said, I don't want you on my case anymore, and said, because Turtle Boy has stated he would rather him he would rather him be full time with Karen Reed. So would that even be able to happen?
Yeah, I mean, there are different rules for current client conflicts versus like past client conflicts, and all the states are a little bit different. I'm pretty sure he'd be able to, because I don't know how clear the judge's order was, but basically the idea is if like Turtle Boy wanted to testify against Karen for immunity or vice versa, Mark Federer wouldn't be able to advise the person who wanted to take the deal. He'd be conflicted out. So that's a pretty straightforward one. So I'm guessing that as long as one of the cases is gone, that he'd be able to jump on.
Okay.
But
well, I mean, he has another
second, guys.
now, so he has another charge on him now after the other night of his little witness intimidation for Chris Albert that he got from the camera. And basically, did you see the video? I'm like, how is that scary, first of all? And secondly, why does Chris Albert have direct contact to Officer Lieutenant Tully or Trooper Tully? Like,
well, we knew that before that he did too. So he's a selectman.
Well, they tried to get him with Turtle Boy said last night. They tried to get him with Fake Victim, because we don't say her name. Fake Victim had Tully and Mello on the phone trying to listen to Aiden talk too at one point. So
man, I was thinking about
so we're gonna take the what?
I was thinking about like how much this is all sprawled. There's an entire separate lane of criminal proceedings that's related, but also not really at all related.
They tried to make them co-defendants last year.
They're trying to do it today this year. They're trying to make it perceived that they're co-defendants.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm still not entirely clear on what they were trying to say with that. The Commonwealth, it's so strange. The Commonwealth's motion to compel the other part of the Commonwealth to turn over Turtle Boy's cell phone records to the court for use in the Karen Reed file by Commonwealth. I don't even know if you can do that. They're asking for an order on themselves.
Right.
I've never seen that before. You usually can't do stuff like that.
Well, like, I mean, the motion that you talked about, the motion he just filed yesterday for Turtle Boy's records.
Yes.
Is that what you're talking about? Yeah.
I think that's what they were trying to do.
Yeah. So they took that to the grand jury before her first trial, and they tried to have them arrested or tried for conspiracy to commit witness intimidation. And the grand jury found there was no evidence of that. And so they didn't do it. And I feel like that's what they're trying to do now. They're trying to weave that back in.
Conspiracy, that's such a weak just charge in general.
I feel like every charge they have against Turtle Boy.
They're trying anything. Yeah. They're throwing spaghetti at a wall to see what sticks at this point, right?
They just want to shut him up.
Yeah. So why don't we take this question here because there's more people kind of piling in. They didn't hear you the first time. How did you actually come upon the Karen Reed case, and what made you kind of start talking about it on X?
It's kind of embarrassing now to think about it. No, so I knew.
You're thinking about your own X post and you're laughing right now, and that's what I think is funny.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of the things I said to the antagonists on X. No, I mean, I knew about the case like from just mainstream news. I mean, it was like national news coverage for a while, and then again, I guess from time to time. But I was aware of the case just in general. I didn't follow it until probably I couldn't sleep one night, and I watched, like I said, I don't know if it was Paul or Proctor or McCabe, Jen McCabe, looking like a lunatic. It was something. Ooh, I have a funny conspiracy about that. But
I would love to hear it.
Okay, here's my theory. Jen McCabe didn't delete anything on her cell phone. It was Proctor. And that's why she's so mad.
You think
Because
so?
Proctor had this, it's a ridiculous conspiracy theory, but maybe that's why she's so mad, because she didn't actually delete anything, but she knows that if she speaks up, it'll ruin the prosecution. So
Well,
she's like really mad about getting blamed for it. She knows she has to take the blame for it. And she knows how
somebody
terrible
said
she looks.
Matt did it. Her husband.
Yeah, her husband is an IT guy, and apparently everyone says that he did. But the thing is, being an IT person, like if he should have known better. You know what I mean? Like he would have
Yeah.
known better if that was him, I think. I think that they never thought that they were going to be in this pickle, and they wouldn't even have thought to
They thought
delete
she
it.
was going to plea out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 100%. They thought she was going to roll. This is actually a good question right here from our friend
Right.
Lucas. Morristy's
I'm gonna finish.
hostage video. Oh yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was
My
just gonna finish up that last one. I don't
Go
want to
ahead.
get a little sidetracked. So yeah, I watched, not concurrent with the trial, but a little bit after. I watched the fun bits of the first trial, probably like 75% of the trial. And then recently I said something nice about Alessi. I said that he was doing a good job or something like that, and people just started attacking me, and I started fighting back, and then
I think
like,
Alessi
decided to
is
pay
amazing.
attention. What's that?
I think Alessi's amazing.
Yeah, I think so too. They don't think so. They
Because
think he's
they're
terrible and that I'm a grifter.
There's
What's that?
Nan's also a grifter, and she's only paid out money. So you just welcome. Some of those grifters have to grift. Okay, we make nothing, but we're grifters. But Nan, she pays money to the defense fund and to other creators and those things, and they have called her a grifter. So now she's the inverse grifter. Basically, she pays to be a grifter.
Yeah, I'm kind of doing that. I actually left my job, and oh, it's so stupid. I don't know why I did this. I left my job to work more on the Moonsu thing, the Antonio Sledge, the YSL case.
So currently, you
And-
left your job to work on it.
Yeah, and
You the man. Seriously,
Oh,
you
man.
are the
I'm a
man
poor
to
man.
do that to someone.
I've already got the
Um,
retainer. Okay, we've already got the retainer.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. It's just when I get called a grifter, it's just like, come on, man. Like
But like,
I'm
what are you
so much
grifting?
I
Yeah,
made
that's what-
$18. Wait, I made $16.60 on Patreon. I think after the
That's
Ooh.
hysterical.
Patreon cut.
Ballin'. Yeah. Don't
Uh,
spend it all in one place.
Followed you, so that might be what it was.
But yeah, no, I just got into the
Um,
case because they antagonized me into. I mean, I'll
And
talk about the YSL thing in a second, but it's kind of similar to that.
Okay. Hey, did you ever see the DA's hostage video from well it's named the hostage video by
I
people
know
who
exactly what
support
you're
Karen. You do.
I haven't
Have
seen
you
it.
ever
I haven't seen it, and I still know what you're talking about. I promised somebody that I would react to it. I watched the first sentence, and my mind was blown, and so I paused it. And
Like she literally,
I'm gonna
like
watch
over
it.
and over, says these witnesses have done nothing. Karen Reed killed John O'Keefe, basically, is what says in it. It's just Proctor has no association with these people. Okay, they're just his second family.
It's just,
Mm.
it's like they don't know how phones and the modern world work. Like they're all texting each other. Like
Tell him the guy
they're
didn't
gonna
come
find out. Like Facebook, that was the
Yeah,
thing.
of
Somebody
course.
had Facebook pictures in a murder trial. At least delete the pictures. Make them go to Facebook and get the pictures. You can't just be going on your Facebook profile and getting yourself called as a witness in a murder trial. That's just
or Snapchat pictures of yourself singing to the Advantage Boys. Yeah, there's
Did I know that one?
Oh,
That's
so
I might miss
Colin
that one.
Albert. Colin Albert. They were trying to make him out to like a choir boy, and he wouldn't do that. I went up and kissed my mommy goodnight, and I did this, and meanwhile he's on Snapchat because someone's ready to bury someone. Someone's mad at him, and they showed videos of him basically like telling an opposing hockey team like pull up to he was like pull up bang bang to another hockey team, like come fight me tonight, and he was drinking and acting a fool. So they were basically like, he's putting on an act type of thing when he's really like a kid that fights, and he's violent, and they're trying to, because there was another thing where they're saying that Chris Albert's Colin wasn't in the house that night, and then when they rode the wheels off until they couldn't ride it anymore, and then all of a sudden he is in the house that night. Because there's lies by omission, right? There's lies by what you don't tell. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I was just thinking about the concept of beeping with a rival hockey team. It's just the most New England thing that could possibly happen. I love it.
It's so New England. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's funny.
All right. Everyone's ready to kind of move on to YSL because a lot of people here don't know about that case. I know a little bit, but you're going to just have the floor and tell us how you got into it, how the process happened for you, and what you're doing now.
Yeah, wow. It's just a very big trial. It's hard to explain in one linear go. I had to check. I think 28 defendants and 65 charges.
You said 28 defendants?
28 defendants. Okay. And they all have one charge in common. They all have the conspiracy charge. And this is taking place in Georgia, which has a very loose. We're talking about judicial immunity. It's kind of like that, but for crimes. It's just extremely easy to convict people under the statute. And essentially what happened is the state kind of tied all these loosely affiliated people, some of whom hadn't even met each other before, into this guy.
What?
In some cases, it was just completely ridiculous. These people never would have crossed paths, and they tried to prosecute them all at once. And where it really went off the rails is the state was expecting to have years to prepare their case after the indictment. But Young Thug, who is a rapper, I should clarify if somebody's watching.
A record label. He's from a YSL record label, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. He started the record label. It's just used in a variety of contexts. It has a variety of different meanings. But it's also affiliated with a neighborhood that has people that sometimes do crimes together. That's just the reality of it. I mean, I think they've retoured on the projects in the last 10 or 15 years, but it's a bad. And there are people that have done crimes that said they were YSL because that was kind of like the neighborhood in the area. But anyway, so there was a record label, and anyway, so there were affluent. Oh, Southern Glanville, Moon Goddess. I know. I know.
All wrong.
Oh my God.
So you said that some people just claimed they were YSL because they committed crimes in the same area?
Yeah, it wasn't. So most gangs, if I go across, to certain places in LA and tell people that I'm a Crip and I'm not a Crip, that would
big
not
problem.
Yeah, but YSL, you can just say you're YSL. It's not like
nobody jumped
in. No, it's just there is a theory. Okay, this is where it actually gets really stupid in a lot of places, but one of the places it gets stupid was there's a theory in Georgia that everything is a hybrid gang. They don't have traditional gangs anymore. So you can have like Bloods and Crips in the same gang,
Okay.
and you can have like,
What?
yeah, it's
Crazy.
yeah.
Yeah.
But so it's just like, are there people within who all say they're YSL that have done things that qualify them as a gang? Probably, but
Okay.
there's not like one gang that's hanging out. There aren't like these incredibly affluent rappers hanging out in, you know, their beach house, God knows where, hanging out with the guy that's in prison for 60 years for shooting cops, and the 15-year-old that's doing life in prison. Like, these people aren't actually linked together in any way. So basically the issue was, it was a political prosecution, it's a political stunt. The DA clearly wants, Nick Neck's right. The DA clearly wanted to get attention off of it. She was prosecuting Donald Trump and Young Thug at the same time in RICO prosecutions. And it just went completely off the rails. It was never on the rails, actually. It started off the rails and it remained off the rails and went further from the rails.
Can you explain what they're accused of?
Oh my God.
I know there's a lot to it, but
About
like a general kind of, yeah, as best you can. Best you can.
Not each defendant, but like your
No,
defendant.
no, just like a general whole.
Basics of that.
Okay, so this is the fun. This isn't fun at all, actually. You can be convicted of a RICO conspiracy for participating in RICO without actually committing an underlying crime. So, like, say there's a gang and they do a bunch of stuff, and I don't know, like they do gang stuff, and you join one day and you tweet like, "I love this gang," and you plan on being a part of the gang, and then you get arrested. Like, that's enough. You just need to show, they call it an overt act in furtherance of the conspiracy. That doesn't need to be a crime.
Okay.
You just need to do something to support the conspiracy. So
basically, like us, Karen Reed, is what you're saying.
Yes, wrong. But there were people there. There were tweets, there were song lyrics that were listed in the RICO indictment. There were people who had their pictures taken wearing like certain color of clothing. I have a selection of
profiling
favorites
people, essentially.
Yeah, there are some that aren't even like acts. It's just a person had their picture taken with this tattoo, and so there's really silly stuff. Shooting up a barbershop. That is true. That was the Donovan Thomas murder. That was January 10th, 2015. Everyone just put it to that one. So that one, that's Rich Homie Kwan's father's barbershop.
Wow.
There were a couple other murders. Shamel Drinks, that was also all acquitted.
There was like a bus stop one. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the same one. That was
okay.
That was the other side of the street. And Shamel Drinks. There were two 15-year-olds who were already doing life in prison for murder, and they were brought back in a second time for the same crimes, but as the conspiracy. So they were like retrying the thing that they were already doing life on. And
yeah, make sense.
Yeah. So that was another murder. Drugs. There was a defendant named Tavia Stevens, and he has been in trouble since like 2014. He's one of the older guys.
OG.
He got fired. Yeah. They asked him if he sold drugs, and he said like, not well. Like, you've seen my arrest record. I sold weed a couple times.
He knows. Yeah.
He attempted to sell drugs.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
he was kind of there were a lot of tragic stories in that. He was definitely one of them.
Yeah.
Illegal weapons. There was a machine gun. That did happen.
Well, like you said, these guys aren't on yachts. These guys are like street guys, right? They're
some of them. There's one.
Well,
one who's like, he's a college guy. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
There's one musician. I'm not going to say who because I don't want to call him out, but he was like very clearly not a part of the street group, but he was kind of like adjacent to the street group. And he's in all these videos. He got charged for just conspiracy, and he's in all these videos saying like, "Yeah, I'm a part of a gang. Like the only thing they have more of than us is like dead people." And he's like saying all this stuff that clearly, in context, it's just him trying to like look legitimate for his like rap career. But then he's in court being tried, and it's just he's realizing the consequences. Man.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, this makes no sense. I'm just rambling about this.
No, please. No, it does. Keep going.
You're
great. You're doing great. You're doing great.
Actually, I know like the minor details. Like I told you, I came in and I was like, "Who was it? Was it this?" I just knew, like, I knew Woody's name. You're like, "No, not him." So, you're making sense.
So there are 100 and I think 190 something overt acts.
Really?
Yes.
That they're accused of.
Yeah, that's all under one crime. So you have like the one RICO count, and then you have all the overt acts underneath.
No.
But there was one involving like flying drones into a jail to like deliver secret cell phones, and it sounded like just a stone conversation between two guys, but it made it onto the list.
Wow.
Man, you guys were reminding me of so much stuff.
What?
There was the Lil Wayne tour bus shooting.
Keep them coming. This is fascinating.
YouTube people, if they know their stuff, they're gonna.
I was worried about studying. There was a defendant. He's in a trial that's coming. I think it's in June now. And he had maybe allegedly shot a cop and tried to shoot another one. But while he was, this was pre-trial, but he started allegedly, but definitely. It's on. No, it's actually interesting. His defense is that the cop, he was just like walking down the street and a cop just comes out of a car and like bum rushes him and like says, "Get on the ground," in gang territory. And so he's saying, "Yeah, I shot him, but I thought I was like getting attacked." But that's not going to work.
Oh, so he admitted it.
Yeah. But anyway, so he also started hooking up with one of the sheriff deputies while he was in jail. It was on video. That's right.
Okay,
and,
this sounds like a soap opera to me. Like
it's
all the
great.
Stuff
Keep going.
I can't even think about that happening.
So
go ahead.
There's that. Then the sheriff deputy went to jail, and then his lawyer got his laptop seized because the lawyer was letting the client like chat with the deputy in the courtroom. And so I assume they're like sexting, like from. So that was the thing.
Hilarious.
What else? There's another lawyer that got gang charges for. She started like tipping off people that were going to be subject to arrest warrants, and so she picked up gang charges.
And then they've been through five judges in 5 years or 6 years or something like that too over the course of time. There's been like prosecutorial they did what's it called when they go in chambers and have secret meetings or whatever and everything. So there's been like a corruption and what they consider conspiracy like all over this case, including including some of the court officials.
Yeah, I'm going out of my way not to say anything about them, but
no, you don't have to. I just said it. That's me.
I will. The time is coming.
No problem.
But yeah, there was the lawyer who was in the second secret ex parte meeting, who was representing Lil Woody. He actually married one of the defendants during the trial, and they're expecting it. Yeah, they're expecting their child now.
Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, when you spend enough time with people.
Yeah.
Wow.
I didn't realize how small Atlanta is. Like, so many of these people know each other, and there are so few defense lawyers that the lawyers have been crossing paths for 20 years, and they kind of all know each other. But I think there were 3 judges. There was Glanville, who had like a really great reputation, and nobody knows quite. I've just got off on the wrong foot in the case or something. But by all accounts, he's a great judge. He's
Okay.
He's a general. He's like a reservist general in the army. I think he's like the head judge of one of the military courts. So he's not.
Oh wow.
He's not a shrinking flower, as somebody likes to say.
I think maybe he like kind of just got caught in the middle of like with the meetings and stuff like that, or because it just doesn't seem right that like a judge that has a really stellar reputation like that would all of a sudden kind of flip down.
Yeah. Yes, even the defense lawyers who like had problems with him are even now they're saying like we're probably not cool, but like I still respect him. I just don't know what happened. Whereas with other people, with some of the prosecutors, for example, they won't say their name.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
What was that question? The question, somebody passing something.
It says, weren't there also defendants passing notes to defendants? Can't remember names.
It wasn't notes. It was Xanax.
Oh my god.
Oh, coming in hot. Like you might need this today, bro.
In court.
Yeah, in court.
Mean, you've been in jail for years at that point. Like, I don't have Xanax.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Who was it that passed it though? I can't remember. It was somebody who's.
That's so funny.
It was somebody who clearly had an incentive to get Young Thug on camera accepting drugs.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
It was determined that
sense.
it wasn't a legitimate. It was clearly not a drug deal. Like Young Thug isn't going to get his drugs in jail by somebody walking up on camera in the middle of a courthouse and handing them to him.
And like these people aren't stupid. You know, they're not stupid.
There were some of these. Like, a lot of those guys are just remarkably bright. You can see it. The schools were just. There was one of the schools that just didn't have a math teacher in high school, and just to make it to the age when they did, and to be a lot of them were successful. And they weren't for a long time, but they like gotten to a point in their life. Like I was talking about Montavious Stevens earlier. He had like left prison, hadn't been in trouble for 10 years. He had a job. And then he gets charged with the RICO conspiracy, dragged back in, loses his job. Has to plead guilty, gets everything upended again. And so as much as I joke about it, there was a lot of cost and kind of just waste in the prosecution. Like that 15-year-old who was doing life, he I think pleaded guilty for like 0 years for time served. And then it was just a waste of resources, and Doug did look very confused all the time.
I imagine what the jurors look like, because how long did they sat there for a year and a half or whatever and had no idea what was going on.
Oh, I want to mention, so jury selection was just shy of a year long. I think they called in 1,800 prospective jurors.
Wait a minute, you just said the jury process was a year long?
Yeah, I think the jury selection is longer than any trial had ever been.
Okay.
But there's one point where the state had hired investigators to follow. There was a jury they didn't like, and they wanted to get them off the jury. And apparently they they paid an investigator to tail them like 24/7 until they found like evidence that they could use to get them kicked off the jury. And it's just, I don't know exactly what went down, but
that's a little something. The jurors. Wait, is that real life? Are you fucking with me? No, they didn't.
They do.
They had a guy who had a clothing line, and YSL guys wore his clothes. He was in the RICO.
Oh man.
If you're going to be in court for that long, like you may as well like self-promote, right?
Yeah, he's the one that he just got arrested like last night. He never zero criminal record, college graduate, started his clothing line. He got dragged in just on the RICO. So Farley.
He got arrested last night.
Yeah, it was last night. And the thing that is so crazy to me is all these people just saw the YSL prosecution, and they don't know how bad it was yet, but it was very bad. even just from what they've seen, and the secret meetings and just mistaken charges, just every kind of misconduct you can think of. And as soon as he gets, sorry, I was gonna say, as soon as this guy gets arrested and gets in trouble on his probation, every single comment is, "Oh, he's so stupid. How could he get caught on probation, getting arrested again?" And it's like, you just saw these people use every dirty trick in the book.
Right.
And you don't really believe in innocent until proven guilty. It's just,
right.
I feel like
that's a fact.
It's lost now. In every case, it's almost lost. Like
guilty until proven innocent or otherwise, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Hold on. So people keep posting this. I'm just going to time out for a second. And I just want to address it so people can. Judge Cannoni imposed a gag order on Karen Reed's lawyers and denies Brennan's motions for sanctions.
Well, at least she denied the sanctions, but the gag order?
How do you impose a gag order but say you're not sanctioning them?
And she denied Betterow. Yeah.
Yeah, I know this.
There was another one I saw that was out there too, though. I don't remember what it was.
I don't know. I just want to. I don't want to. We're going to continue with YSL. We can talk about this another time or something. I don't want to. I don't want to get off track. My bad. I just wanted to address it. Go ahead.
No, I like talking about Karen Reed.
Oh, you want? Okay, we can. Here we go.
Yeah, it's all new for me.
Let's talk about it.
Yep. My question, really quick, though, before we go back to Karen Reed, is how did you get involved in YSL? Where did you come in?
So it's kind of the same way I got into this trial. So the first time I tweeted was like maybe late September or October. And I noticed something in the indictment. There were two indictments. There was the first indictment, then they do a re-indictment or a superseding indictment, they call it in some places. And there were just discrepancies. And there were just kind of these deep, like small details that were messed up. And I started tweeting about them because I wanted to be right on the internet. And a defense lawyer said I sounded like a sovereign citizen, and I didn't like that. And so I kept tweeting about it. And out of pettiness, I kept going. And eventually my client's probation got revoked because he supposedly didn't testify to the things he was supposed to testify to. And I wrote him a letter and I said, "Hey, bro, that's kind of messed up." And he said, "Yes, I also think it was messed up." And we started talking, and I found a lawyer in Georgia to also do the case pro bono, and teamed up. And hopefully I don't flame out now, because that would be really awkward for anybody involved. But yeah, it started just taking an interest in one very extremely narrow part of the case.
Okay.
And
you were doing it for free.
Yes, incredible. I was laying the foundation for my grift. It's the long con.
Yeah, I mean, you got to start somewhere, honey. You got to start somewhere.
We need to teach you about grifting, because you guys seem to do it backwards. I don't understand.
You know.
Yeah. I start like a. What's the grift du jour? Like, what are people grifting with these days?
So basically, they're saying
Karen Reed. That's what the trolls say.
Who's on Karen Reed, who does YouTube per se,
right?
Wants to is grifting. They're trying to make money by getting super chats and getting donations sent to them and things like that. So we're grifters, but if you know, like Amy's our channel is new, and so for the most we don't make any money. We do this because we enjoy it and we want to learn and we want to talk about the things. So for me, I don't even care like about money. I'm a stay-at-home mom. Like, this is my distraction from my life with my son having cancer. So for me, this is nothing that I have do for like a job per se. and I don't plan on doing it, but they use these people like other bigger creators who jump on Karen Reed bandwagon, I guess you would say, and they every day are going live about Karen Reed and what's happening and what anything new. And when there's not something going on, they're going back to different court cases and going over those things. Those are the people they're calling grifters. They're basically saying they're using everything Karen Reed to make money.
Well, and the thing is, the definition of a grifter is perpetuating an idea that you don't actually believe in, and you're selling someone something, right? And not to mention, a lot of people do use YouTube as their source of career. There are people with millions of followers and subscribers that you can send a super chat and get your question asked by somebody. Like, I'm not a doctor or a lawyer, just a girl who's been through a lot of stuff. And if people are sending money, this considered like a donation to the channel or the person, right? So when someone's calling you a grifter, they're considering it an insult, saying that like you're a simpleton and you're just perpetuating an idea that's not believable, or that you're just trying to like buy people's votes or something, right? But everyone I know for certain in the Karen Reed case are really in this like because they truly believe in a woman's innocence,
right?
And she's being railroaded by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts.
And this is a way to get the information out to everybody. The more people who are on YouTube talking about it, the more people who are going to come around, listen, and go to other people's channels to learn. I mean, that's how I got into it. So, I mean, but then the same people who call these people grifters are the same people who are on YouTube starting their own little channel and have their Cash App and their Venmo in the little ticker at the bottom saying,
"That's what I need."
Yeah. You put your
I got you. If you want my Venmo, it's on the top right-hand corner. Yeah, no, it's silly. And for someone to call you a grifter because you're making content on X that they don't agree with, like, and I find this is my opinion, especially X, it's a cesspool of like a variety of people, and they will find any reason to rip you apart because you don't have the same ideas as they do. You can't have opinions.
I started having.
You're fine.
Oh, hold on.
Okay.
1 second. Sorry, I'm gonna
go ahead.
Okay, go over.
He's 4. He's so sweet. You're fine. I told you we're about life. Hey, baby Squishmallow, what you doing?
I had him go in the other room. All right. Sorry. Go ahead. My bad.
So I just started to have fun with them, the people who call me grifters. I started to try to like coach them up to do better than grifter because it's getting kind of boring by like the second time.
Yeah.
And
what are some of the other things they're calling?
I will do my best, but yeah, they have. That was one of the things when I'm sorry about the pro bono lawyers. Some of the guys have been without lawyers and in jail for 3 years. They just didn't have enough lawyers for 28 defendants for this complex of a trial. There aren't 28.
Another thing, like
defense
you
lawyers
guys
qualified for a complex murder trial.
The lawyers believed so much in these clients too. Like, I mean, didn't the one Steele go to jail?
He didn't go all the way. I think he was like the holding cell in the courtroom for like an hour or so.
Okay.
But it's called the Georgia Association of Criminal Defense Lawyers. They have a group that shows up anytime a defense lawyer is being held in contempt, and they showed up and got him out of jail. He did eventually have to go to the Supreme Court for a contempt hearing for discipline. But the funny thing is, he's like the most active Supreme Court litigator in the state, so he's there constantly.
Right.
The Supreme Court just dismissed it before the date. So, but yeah, that's the first thing I watched in the YSL trial. I thought it would be funny to see a lawyer get locked up. And
that's actually, I was like,
it was on the bingo card. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just feel like some of these, like I feel like not I didn't gonna say some of them, most all cases that are out there now, even just being like, because it's on the courtroom is on YouTube, it becomes a circus, honestly. Like, no matter what trial it is, like, people get so involved in it and they think that, you know, they're part of it. So it almost becomes like a steering circus. I mean, I've met family from, I call it like Amy and them, I call them my family. We've never even met like personally in person, but because of the Karen Reed case, we talk every day. We're super close. So I mean, a lot of people in the chat, like, we see them every day in different chats and talk to them, and they're just, you ever have a bad day, pop into a Karen Reed chat when you see someone you know, and you're going to feel good because people will be like, hey, how are you? And you feel better about yourself anytime, like instantly. So,
yeah. I know what you mean about, well, all those things really is feeling like that sense, like you are involved in your own way, but you're not like literally involved, but you have your community around it. And it, you know, becomes a part of your life. So in a sense you're involved, but I'm supposed to talk to somebody who is a lawyer in the YSL trial, and they're just like it's like a normal person, but to me it's like, oh my God, you're the guy from TV. And I can't believe you're real. And it's like, you could not be like a more normal person, but it's just, it is strange. Like, I'm sure at some point it becomes unhealthy, but I think it's natural to build up that kind of connection.
Well, I think that people have that reaction with a lot of creators too, with YouTube, you know?
Yeah. It must be surreal, a feeling.
Like, Will goes to
like you're just a regular person.
Like, all of a sudden everyone's like, the glare is here. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, how would he go from normal life to being like surrounded and taking pictures? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
So I totally get about that.
Yeah.
All right.
I know some of the YSL lawyers mentioned that they went from like just random dude to getting noticed in supermarkets and just getting approached in public.
It's got to be both scary and like kind of like, it must be nice at first and could be kind of scary because people are just like coming up to you and you're like,
in Atlanta, I might be a little scared.
You know?
Especially in certain parts of Atlanta, if someone recognized me, I might be like, okay. But I mean, that's the same here. I mean, we have
probably
like,
start all.
For me, like, I live about half a mile from where Sarah Boone's apartment was in Orlando. So, like,
fascinating trial.
Yeah, a fascinating trial, but it wasn't anything like what we're going through with, you know, with Karen Reed, with people protesting and things like that. People just have something to say about it. So it's not like it never affected our daily lives here, where it affects people who live in Norfolk.
I will say Massachusetts, being someone who has been to standouts, first of all, it's electric and it's amazing, but I've never seen, no matter how big a case is, there being standouts and people like the people that really believe in the case going out and actually like putting themselves out there to really stand for what they believe. And that's been one thing that separates this case from other crazy cases that I have watched and known a lot of facts about, because this is like, you know, my jam for a long time.
Once you're a believer, it's really hard to see it to even see the other side of it. And I mean, like, we've personally seen other people like switch stuff. I've seen anti-Karen Reed become free Karen Reed, and I just recently saw a free Karen Reed become an anti-Karen Reed the last couple days. So I personally don't see how somebody can block that and switch. Like, you know what I mean? When you believe something so hard, then all of a sudden you're like, never mind, it's gonna go the other way. But
do you know what it was that made them change their, it's just hard to imagine what it would be that make them change their mind. Was it just an accumulation?
What was the thing?
I think the one, and like, well, I know what, like, one is Christy. Christy was anti-Karen Reed. She actually hung out with all of Jen McCabe and Carrie Lama and Kate Peters and all of them. And she actually turned everything over to Aiden that they had She turned over like text messages, all kinds of stuff. And when
Got
they
'em.
start messing
Oh, yeah.
with her, when they start messing with her, she starts posting receipts. She's like, all right,
Yeah.
keep messing. I'll post some more.
Coming in hot.
She's like, I got more that they ain't got. I'll post it again. Don't think I won't.
I
And
respect
she
that.
they tried to like
Well-
post her rebate records, and she was like, that ain't got nothing on me. That was what? Okay, so it says I got money from it. What? Like, I don't care.
Yeah.
And so she'll post it again. She posts all
What
the
blows
text.
my mind. What
But-
blows my mind is how people now are going from like anti Karen Reed to free Karen Reed. Like, what is it right now that made you change your mind that wasn't said for the past 3 years? You know what I'm saying? What was it? I want to know. We should stream. What was it that turned you right now into a believer?
to the anti-Karen.
You know, like
This lady that was Hank's argument this for the motion where he was showing the videos this week of like the tail lights and stuff, and he was like, see the white spot, and like to a person who's not really knows and doesn't pay attention to like details or actually research like we do, they would look at that video and think to themselves, oh yeah, I could totally see where they're wrong, and try to probably believe that. Or someone who's not as firm of a believer, but if you research it like I do, you realize that a Lexus doesn't have white lights that go over a red or go under a red tail light. It's actually red LED lights underneath it. So if it's broken, it's going to shine red. And if the LED is broken, the LED just shines black. So there's no way that light would shine white as she's driving out.
Well, hold your thought. I just want to put my 2 cents in. We'll move on. I want to know if the defense wants the metadata from that, because whoever did that kept the AI editing software logo.
Oh, the pop-up on the screen.
And the pop-up on the screen. Thank you.
And at the bottom,
But the thing is, we have Bev though. We have Bev. I don't know.
The bottom video Jesus or Abby went on Young Jerks, and she was talking about on the bottom of the screen, like they had all the editing software on there, and one of them was actually a software that edits text on top of videos, which would make the timestamps. And the funny thing about that is the timestamp or the inverted video that he showed this week to prove that they already had it. That's how it filmed. Well, that was yellow in the correct direction, but the one in trial that was shown to the jury was dark blue and backwards.
Can I ask you a question, Jim?
Different colors in different ways.
Yeah.
I have a question about the thumb drives. So if they had 3 thumb drives in 6-hour chunks, right? And why are
question.
Right? Well, no. I promise, I won't.
Tell us your work, please.
No, but why is the defense only given? Is it okay? I guess my question is it standard for the common or like the state to give the defense only portions of the video and not give them the entire 6 hours, like the 3 whole thumb drives, to see absolutely everything, and then for it to be edited, like that's a whole other thing? But is it par for the course to give only certain sections, or like I guess I don't get
actually
that
I don't
part.
say. I mean, I'm sure it happens, but it's so much more work. Why would you
Just
if there's nothing there? Who has time to go through 18 hours of video and edit it if there's nothing there? Just it's so much more work. It's so much harder. Nobody wants to do that.
I don't know. I'm blown away by every time there's a court case. I'm just like, are you what? Like every time something else is announced, I'm just Jackson like blew my mind this week. There's at some points I had to go back and rewatch what he said, because I literally was like, that's not what he said. Like there's no way that that's what came out. But the fact that Hank, the one thing that made me crazy, Hank said that there was a court TV, or that they appeared on court TV together, and I went and found it, and I screenshot it, screen recorded it, showing what court TV. They did mislabel it. They said Karen Reed and her attorney talks to court TV, but Benny literally says in the video, this is from the hearing. But that should be held accountable to Hank to say you screwed up. And everyone's like, but he admitted it. Not until after he was called out after an entire day of trial.
Yeah.
It wasn't until Eddie got up to say something.
I think Brennan, I think he might be doing this whole thing by himself. I don't get the sense that he has any staff, because I think that was the motions that are just have the same mistakes over and over again. Like, he's smart enough not to do that. I'm sure he doesn't do that in private practice. And based on how much or little Lolly's saying, I don't think he's in.
Lolly hasn't written anything. He stares at him like, nope.
Like, Brennan doesn't want any of the Proctor lies getting on him. And so I don't think he's really using anybody in that office to help him out. And maybe I'm being too charitable, but I do think that some of it is mistakes, because they're just, it's not stuff that you're going to get away with. You know what I mean? It's like it's not something you choose to lie about. Like, and it's something that's easily verified as untrue. There's stuff I actually disagree with, but I think there's something else going on there too.
Yeah. My thing is, though, Bev keeps saying that, like, it's one trial, the last trial, it's like, you're either in or you're out, pick a lane. It's either a new trial or it's not. And, Hank adopted this case as his own, and so he has to take the mistakes from the prior trial, right? I mean, he has to. Sure. You're one team, like Beverly said to the defense, like, you have to think as one. If one person makes a mistake, then you all pay for it. So why, it should be the same for the state of Massachusetts. Lally, do I think that he was in the conspiracy? No, I think that he was like low man on the totem pole, and he got told to prosecute this case and just like Demi the dunce, in my opinion, and just kind of like went with it. Like, I think like you get so far into it that there's no backing out at this point. I mean, that's like,
yeah. I mean, I'm not saying.
Aiden Kearney's restraining order was extended for another year on Kate Peter.
Oh, good.
I don't even know who that is. Kate Peters?
She's just an anti-Karen Reed person.
She has a nickname, but can't say it on air.
Not worth it. Yeah.
I'll message it to you. Or else, how about I will message you her profile.
I think Brennan's trying to waste the defense. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of reasons. But like, why did Hank even take this case? Like, you tell me what's your reasoning? What do you think the reason? Okay, so we all know Hank is a mob defense attorney. He was Whitey Bulger's defense attorney. He loved him. He loved Whitey, and he was like, he's an innocent
Who didn't love
guy.
Whitey?
Who didn't love Whitey Bulger? I mean, come on. And he was and then there's like. The internet is forever. He has the videos of him being like the FBI this, the FBI that, and then all of a sudden he's contacting and getting calls from the FBI, and he's like all aboard. I think that you tell me your opinion about why Hank is all of a sudden a special prosecutor.
I have no idea. I mean,
no, I mean, just an opinion.
Is he old enough to? Oh, I need to see how old he is. If there's like a political thing, that's kind of a common one.
Oh yeah, if he was edging from Meatball's job as DA of Norfolk County.
Yeah, I think he just wanted to cleanse his. Oh, I can't find out how old he is, so he's probably.
Tommy said that.
Well, he said he's been practicing for 30 years. So whatever that is, that doesn't really mean anything, right? Hold on.
I mean, he's gonna be like in his 50s. He could still be young enough to like try to launch a political career. I think that's kind of what the Alec Baldwin special prosecutor was going for. He was a defense attorney who wanted to switch to politics, and so needed a prosecution to kind of cleanse their image.
She put herself on. Yeah,
that is. We could talk for hours about that.
I did. I watched that whole thing, and then she put herself on the stand. Yeah.
I think I was sitting there like, what? Like, I think I was folding clothes, and I stopped in the middle. Like, what is she doing right now? Why? What are you doing?
But I mean, that is the exact thing of what she is saying. It's like, even if she didn't know, it was her job to know. You know. All right.
Yeah,
Let's
that's
see
I think
here.
Trooper Brennan.
How?
It also just the ego, and yes, Trooper Proctor will absolutely be called by the defense. The Commonwealth almost has to call him. I mean, you can't hide it.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
People
were questioning that in the first trial, if the Commonwealth was going to call him, because he was so far. They in trials that I've watched, you usually call law enforcement first, and they waited until forever to call him. And so people were like, "Are they even going to call him?" But you're right.
He really needed. He could have taught him like a couple more ways to apologize than just the one. Like, it wouldn't have worked anyway, but like, memorizing. He's smart enough to memorize a couple more apologies. Like, it wasn't even like he wasn't even trying to pretend to apologize.
Nope.
It was. Yeah, that was a time.
Someone wrote something that I thought was interesting. It's like they thought that the jurors maybe sympathized with Proctor. How, I don't know, but sympathize with Proctor because you can think to yourself of the text messages that you send. You never think they're going to be read in court. And so, whatever you say amongst your friends, that you don't think that it's ever going to be read out loud. And so they put themselves in his, that was just an opinion I thought was interesting.
So there is a motion, a supplemental motion from the defense posted today. That is a supplemental motion to exhibits in support of defendants Karen Reed's extraordinary government misconduct to dismiss the case. And one of them actually says the color thing I just said. It says, corrected version of the inverted interior Sally Port video. Ones, and then there's like a whole bunch of different exhibits they have, but on it, it says that screenshots establishing the Commonwealth's Exhibit 2, which purports to show that the interior Sally Port video back wall camera was also inverted on 1/1/2022, which was played at the direction of Special Prosecutor Hank Brennan in court yesterday, March 5th, has a different color chyron than 1/29/22 inverted video produced to the defense on April 4th from the same camera. Suggests manipulation and further underscores the prejudice to misread by this Commonwealth's destruction of original files and metadata associated with the downloaded video surveillance in Canton PD.
Good.
That's one of the exhibits.
This is the thing. Oh, I don't know. It doesn't matter with Bev. Like, at this point, it just doesn't matter.
Like, it shouldn't have. It's inverted, and they tried to act like it wasn't inverted. We didn't need to do all this stuff. We could have been done months ago. As soon as
Bukaki was like, "That's it. That's what I saw."
That guy he lies so comfortably.
He very
psychopath.
Did you notice?
Why doing it?
in the one of the here, I think there was a motion to dismiss hearing this week.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was Brennan. He switched it and he started saying Proctor was instructing Buchanan to do this, and Proctor was instructing Buchanan to do that. And
he's becoming the scapegoat.
Yeah, it was this. I'm almost positive I read a report saying that the chain went the other way.
Yeah.
No, he's the errand boy. I mean,
Buchanan was his lead. Yeah.
But
that's
yeah, you're right. He was Proctor was above him, right?
No, below him. Buchanan is above
below him. My bad.
So
yeah,
he's just a trooper. He's sergeant.
That's
so
right. Sergeant Buchanan. Yeah.
Bukaki.
Yeah. So Bukaki lies comfortably. He does. Those are the psychopaths. You never know.
There's so many jokes to that.
Yeah. Dude, and you know what's funny? Whatever Jill, the Daniels lady, Chris Albert's wife, called him Bukaki on the stand.
That just tells you that shows you they're watching Turtle Boy all the time. Because how do you call him Bukaki on the stand?
That's something I would do. Like,
same.
Don't say it. Don't say it. Don't say it.
The names that he comes up with, like really off the cuff, they stick,
Turtle
and then
Boys is hilarious.
everybody calls them that. Like, it just sticks, and you're like, oh wow, like Bukkake, and then you have Man Shannon for the new Commonwealth guy that does the board for the Alexis, and then you have, I mean, he's got all kinds of names for everybody, and they just stick.
He comes up with the good ones.
All right,
hold on, let's see. Brennan fucked up both inverted videos. One blue stamp, the other one, you just said that. Okay.
Yeah, that's the paperwork.
Also, one other thing, the whole metadata discussion where Brennan's saying they didn't tell us to preserve the metadata, it's fucking 2025. It's 2025.
Right.
Preserve the metadata. It's been, I think, for 20 years. This is
From
not.
my understanding, you're a lawyer, but Melanie Little also, you're supposed to do it. You automatically are required to do it. Like, you should not do, like, and then for him to say, well, they're saying that the Sally Port's the crime scene, like Jackson said, and the dismissal thing the other day was, you can't have both, because on the stand they literally called Sally Port the crime scene. They said they show up to the scene at
the victim's blood's there, so I don't know what to tell you. And they're producing a Sally Port video just voluntarily in their own production, so that doesn't even, it doesn't even matter. Like, once you start producing the video, you're saying that it's material and you should produce all the video and 1,000 other
but
things.
like all 18 hours, right?
Oh god, I can't imagine you're gonna watch that. Poor Elizabeth.
It was important enough to download all of it.
Poor Liza.
Yeah.
Oh my god. So what do we think about the judge putting a gag order this far into the game on the defense and no sanctions?
The ship is sailed. What is left to be said, really?
Well,
I mean, we know everything.
Supposedly in her order, she accused Jackson of doing something with Gretchen Voss. Supposedly, she accused Jackson. It says the court notes that Attorney Jackson had a conversation with Gretchen Voss at Omni Seaport Hotel, during which he revealed information that had been turned over by the Commonwealth in discovery but not yet made public. In that discussion, Attorney Jackson acknowledged to the reporter that he was not permitted to discuss the information that he received in discovery, and that she could not publicly disseminate the information until it was put in court motion. Jackson then proposed a way to make an information public in an unrelated court hearing so that the court could put it in her article before publication. I don't think Jackson.
What about inverted videos 17 days into trial one and getting more video after trial one already concludes? That's totally fine. That's fine. That's fine.
So
nothing to see here.
So Voss asked Jackson if there was a document, and he said he couldn't comment, but he'd say something about it in court so she could report on it.
Supposedly, that's what Beverly said.
But if he says it in court, there's nothing to report on because it's public at that point. That doesn't even make sense.
Supposedly, he told her about what the discovery evidence, and then said, "Don't put it in your report until it goes into a motion." But like, here's my thing. I don't believe Voss. She's the same lady who did mushrooms with KP. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
she's an anti-Karen reader journalist.
I know the name, and then I started to read stuff about her, and then I stopped reading stuff about her, and I never found out whether she was like a good or bad.
She's from Boston Magazine.
Who? Kate Voss or Kate Peter?
Bad.
Or Voss?
Oh no, the Voss is. I thought that's what we were talking about. Voss is from Boston Magazine. Yeah,
that's bad.
No.
She as far as I know, that she thinks that Karen is. At one point, I heard that she thought Karen had did it. And I know her and Turtle Boy have a little feud or something.
Yeah, so, I mean I think that's like the most interesting cases where you think the person did it, but there's so reasonable doubt. That's where so many of the interesting crime dramas are.
So many anti-Karen people are more Turtle Boy bad people. They just hate Turtle Boy. like most people who are anti-Karen Reed have something against Turtle Boy.
That's true.
And like with Kate Peter, the reason she got involved is because she used to work for Turtle Boy at Turtle Boy Sports, or Turtle Boy, it was Turtle Boy Sports at that time. Now it's Turtle Boy Daily News.
Right.
She used to work, she write articles for him. And then she no longer worked there. He let her go. And so that's when that feud started. So they've had this feud for a long time, way before Karen Reed. But because Karen, she likes to insert herself in anything that's against Turtle Boy. So
she does. And not for nothing, to put a gag order in like two weeks before a new trial.
It's been 3 years.
It's 3 years and 2 trials. Oh, coming up.
Okay, but who really agrees that this is going to happen on April 1st? Like, do you really think it's going to start April 1st?
No. God,
there's no way. No. Like, when do you think, Jem, that on your knowledge as a lawyer, when do you see it starting?
I mean, you probably know better than I do, but I don't think it'll be that much after April 1st, but maybe mid-month or beginning of May.
Oh, okay, so you don't think it'll be that far off?
It seems like they're relatively close, but if they start getting into evidentiary hearings, I mean, we could be talking.
Adding
Jackson asked for one.
Yeah, he asked for one at the end of
the last hearing. She denied it the last time.
Well, remember the year before the first hearing, she had an evidentiary hearing, and they all came on the plane. They were on the plane coming, and she canceled the hearing before they got here and said, "No, we're not doing it."
Yeah, that was the cell phone, the Albert cell phone.
Yeah, that was for Brian Alberts, I think, the cell phones.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not unlike her to just change her mind when she decides not to do it.
It's like you're the judge. You can make people do anything. Like, don't cancel it. Just make them come dance for you and then tell them to go away.
Well, and there's not even another court date until the 18th. So we don't have anything going on with Karen date until the 18th. So how are we supposed to know that? I mean, there's no way they're going to start on the 1st.
So I have a question. Would there be video camera in now that there's a gag order, we're not supposed to know anything? Will anything be televised from here forward?
Yeah, I assume it's like an out of court gag order, not a.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I mean, I would assume so. That would be a riot. People would lose their minds.
People would lose their ever-loving minds. They would swarm Dedham Courthouse, and it's small.
Of counsel.
Yeah.
What is it?
Extrajudicial statements. So they're not allowed to talk to anybody in the news or outside.
Oh, okay. So, they're not allowed to speak out. They never speak outside of court anyway.
Well,
evidentiary hearing to get fanning on the stand.
Gag order is not on Karen, and he made sure to say we don't care about having a gag order on her. It's just on the attorneys.
I don't know if I don't know if you can put a gag. Yeah, I'm sure you can. I wonder if it's like a different set of rules for defendants.
That gets
it has to be right because it's their right to say. Who knows in Massachusetts though? In this case specifically. Yeah. Do you know anything about the Sandra Birchmore? I mean, we're getting kind of late. We're on 2 hours. I don't want to hold you up. So,
okay.
But nonetheless, do you know anything about that Sandra Birchmore case and how they kind of align?
Yeah, that kind of ties into the phone thing I was looking at with the way the extraction. It was like Colleen and Guarino. They were doing extractions, and there were texts and communications were shifted between folders, and there are a lot of similarities between. This has nothing to do with Sandra Birchmore personally, but. Sort of the investigation and the process. There's a lot of similarity and overlap. But I mean, I know the broad strokes of.
That's all you really need to. Yeah.
I think some of the reports keep calling him Matthew, and that bothers me.
Oh, Matthew Farwell? You're talking about that?
Wait, am I mixing up my pieces?
So Matthew Farwell.
Sandra Birchmore.
That is Sandra Birchmore.
Okay.
He was the one that got nabbed by the law enforcement in his truck. Yeah.
But
years later,
and people involved in that case that just haven't been brought up on charges yet, I believe.
Yeah, there's no way that the FBI is telling anybody that any investigations are closed. Like,
No.
there's no way. Come on.
No. And
Unless-
wouldn't you go ahead?
So unless they have wiretaps like on the police and they're like, no, the investigation is closed. Say what you were
Right.
saying before. There's nothing to worry about.
And like
I
maybe
just-
the Commonwealth wouldn't do this, but wouldn't they let both sides know? Like if that was the case, say if they were like, we're gonna go let these people know that this has been closed. It wouldn't just go to the state, it would have to go to everybody, including Bev, wouldn't it?
I would imagine just for
state. Yeah.
that's backfired on the FBI before when they
What gets me is that they had
Or-
a email with
Mhm.
everybody copied on it on January 30th that said it was still active. But then February 19th, they say they received a phone call with permission to tell everybody that it's been closed.
so they do everything in writing except for the final determination just by phone call.
Oh no shit.
I want to know
What-
how, the
how
judge
does that-
chooses this.
No, he's joking. He's
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
That's insane.
Well, I was like, wait, what? Yeah, I was like, learn
Yeah,
something new.
that's-
I mean,
especially in this case.
I'm a witness in
Especially
a
in this case.
federal case right now, but it's for embezzlement for a childhood cancer charity that a few of us moms figured out that person was what they were doing, and we turned them in, and now we are witnesses. They've been investigated with the FBI, and it's been going on 5 years, and it's still going. They randomly will call it. Like, we won't hear. I didn't hear from 3 years, and all of a sudden I got a phone call in like August of last year, and she was like,
that's-
"You're still ready to come and testify whenever we get whenever state's attorney decides to finish this up." And I'm like, yeah. She's like, it could be anytime. I mean, I can't tell you when. Like, she's like, there's no date, but it's still going on, and we hear a thing.
Feds swing for the fences.
Yeah, that was my my first firm. We did like Ponzi scheme stuff with. Usually there'd be like an SEC. There'd be an SEC investigation which did like sort of civil stuff, and then the FBI would do a criminal investigation, and then we'd basically do like the actual lawsuits against the people who got all the Ponzi scheme money. There are always some winners,
Wow.
and they have to pay back the money, and you just keep finding more and more defendants because money gets spread around, and so you can be still finding new defendants that you didn't know about years down the line. And yeah,
crazy.
those cases sprawl like crazy. Eventually, the
Wow.
dollar amounts get so small that you don't want to bother. But
Yeah. But I mean, sometimes like people, they just want like the justice for themselves to be like, you got what you got, for what you put me through. Ponzi schemes are sad because they're just people. There was a couple in Boston here that were, I mean, they were doing it to their own family. That's usually where they start, right? Own
Yeah.
family and friends.
Wasn't that what Martha Stewart was put in jail for? Or was
that
she put
was
something else?
That was trade. That was trades.
Well, I know that she announced 2 weeks before she was arrested that there was no she wasn't being investigated by the FBI too. So
yeah. The funny thing is, she only got convicted for lying. She didn't even get in trouble. She didn't even do anything illegal until she lied to the feds, which I can respect.
that's crazy.
Yeah, it's
they
fun.
don't see-
The Ponzi schemes you get sometimes it's just all rich people scamming each other,
Mhm.
and then it's really funny. But when you have actual victims, it's less fun.
I love
You're
your
right.
thoughts. Like, I love your take on law because you're like, and then it's just like hilarious. You like it makes you laugh at the stupidity of people sometimes.
It's sad when it's like old people and
Yeah.
like people that like they just did it, then gave you all of their money because they were trying to help you and like start you up in a new business and everything, and then you take their entire life savings and there's no getting it back other than you going to jail. And that's what one of them definitely that I know happened. He robbed a bunch of people who like their life savings, and they end up losing everything, and it's really sad that way. But the rich people, they're just like, it's no, it's like us giving someone $5, right? It's no
Yeah.
sweat off their backs, really.
Yeah, it's two. There are two types basically. There are the people that are desperate, and those are sad. And I mean, they're all serious, but those are like very serious, and they're
Yeah.
real victims.
Right.
But then there are, a bunch of guys in the same country club, and one of them had a get rich quick scheme, and they're all suing each other for like spending millions of dollars on the $10,000 that they got scammed out of because it's personal. And it's just everything about it is okay. I'm exaggerating a bit, but there are much less so victims than the poor people who lost their savings.
Well,
Understandable. Yeah. And that's
They
more
put
part.
themselves
That's
in that
more.
situation.
Yeah.
That's right.
Hal, how did you get into law in the first place?
I don't know. I kind of always knew I was going to be a lawyer. Like, it was actually fun. I remember we had like a middle school thing where you were supposed to go and like tell the guidance counselor what you wanted your job to be. And the kid, like two kids in front of me said he wanted to be a lawyer, and the guidance counselor said, like, you don't want to do that. They all grow up to be alcoholics. And then I got there and I said, I want to be a lawyer. And he's like, that'd be great for you. I was like, that's kind of fucked up.
Is that because you like to
that?
Or is that because, did you have a reputation, or is that because you like to argue?
I was like 13. I don't know. I probably do like to argue. I like being right.
It's like a certain personality type too, right?
But I realized I also became a bartender before I became a lawyer, so maybe he was right.
Like I did both.
that just occurred to me for the first time. Just right now.
I don't have to again to be a lawyer. I would literally like go home and cry in bed afterwards because just the trials watching them wear me out. Okay, so
yeah,
and I'm an empath. Like I like suck in all of other people's energy and like I carry it on my own, and it's so like for me watching it like this whole week has been super draining on me, like my body completely. I can feel it. It's weird to say like it affects me that way, but it does. I mean I take it all on. I just because I feel so bad for Karen. I know she's being railroaded and it's making me crazy. And then whenever you see like Bev, the bias come out in her, like she literally went against her own ruling.
Yeah. She
ruled that you had to be a medical doctor for causation of his injuries. And then she lets a behaviorist, animal behaviorist, come in to rule about the causation of her injuries.
So sorry.
Like it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And if you notice the two papers, when she allowed Dr. Russell, she said it was a close call, but it was 3 pages long of her decision. And the one yesterday for the Dr. Crosby was just a paragraph.
What were you going to say, Jim?
Oh, I got to finish my law story. So I didn't know what to do. So I started bartending after college. And then I was dating a girl at the time, and she got into a PhD program at USC. And I was like, well, this life sucks. So time to fulfill the dream. And I applied to USC for law school. Well, I had to take the LSATs first, but took the LSATs, got in USC.
That's a great school.
We're not together anymore, but I'm still in California. So,
where in California are you?
For everything, right?
I'm in Los Angeles. I was working in Beverly Hills, but I live in Los Angeles, so downtown.
Ooh, has the fire affected you at all?
No, we could see the fire. We could see the fires like from my office window. Just like, come on in if you feel like it's safe.
That's crazy.
I can see the fires right over there. Nobody feels safe. But
yeah. Well, I mean, that was nuts. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, you could see the fear on people with that. And so many people lost everything. It's so sad. So
Hal, happily angry lawyer. I think that's going to be like your new nickname. You're going to be Hal from now on. Better call Hal. Have you ever looked into Bev being overturned on appeals? You should do that. Apparently, she gets overturned a lot.
You should do that. Why don't you do it?
Don't tell me what to do. You do it.
I think our friend Hal has a lot in his plate right now. That's what it sounds like to me. I don't know.
I mean,
I don't know.
Okay, I already wrote down that I'm going to do it.
quitting your job to do a case to get some for one of the YSL guys, that's a big deal. Like, that's a lot on your plate.
Yeah, that is a lot. And you know, Karen has a bunch of people coming forward being like, I want to help you, you know, too. So it's, you know,
Yeah.
Hal is gracing us with his presence here and giving us his takes on the Karen Read. So very, very thankful for that. Anyone else have any questions?
Do you have anything else? Like, I know you can't talk about so much your case right now, but is there anything you can talk about what you're doing with that at all?
Yeah. So just like the 30-second background, so he did plead guilty to 2 crimes. I'm sorry, I think all of this is bullshit. He pleaded guilty to 2 crimes, and he only got probation. And one of the conditions was that he had to agree to these 16 facts, and he had to testify to these 16 facts.
Facts that
And
they gave him?
yeah, like one was, you know, that such and such killed this other person for a fact, and you know that this group of people is a gang. And no kidding, you know that this gas station is a gang stronghold. And there was something about a McDonald's in there, but there are all these facts that he had to testify to. And he did not testify to those things. He signed the plea agreement. His mother was about to die, and he needed to get out of jail because he was being held without. Everyone was held without bond, and so he was ready to sign whatever, and they put that in front of him. And anyway, he was called to testify. He didn't say those things, and they revoked his probation for 5 years. And he got basically the longest sentence out of anybody, except for I think one other person. And
like everybody else got anybody who was sentenced got like suspended sentences. Like
yeah,
there was one guy. There's one guy that got one of the Quays. I can't remember. I think it was Huey. He got I think like 8 years or 10 years. So it might technically be longer, but he he got 5 years.
That's crazy.
That's so.
I'll tell you the real version of what I think in a week or two.
Absolutely. I would love to have you back on anytime you want, honey. Absolutely, anytime you want.
This was fun.
But like, yeah, absolutely it was. It was great having you. And you were just
really stay on and talk with you for hours. Like
same. I just don't want to keep you. You tell me when to pull the plug. Yeah, it was really, really good to have you. And the YSL case has been going on forever. And wait, I just have I have one more question about this. So you're saying that it was a conspiracy and there was like this like fake gang and all this kind of stuff. And there's like mothers and there's all this kind of stuff. How did they pick the defendants? How did those defendants become defendants if they weren't directly connected to the crime? Says the state. Like I know that it's all like what it is, but what did they say happened?
They're all kind of connected in one way or another.
Okay.
So they were kind of like, there's an older, like my client's a little bit older. He was born in 80. He's 40. He'll be 44 this year. And then there's another defendant that's not 15. He was 15 when he committed the crime, but he's I think 19 or 20 now, and they don't know each other, but if you tie everybody together, everybody kind of links in somewhere along the way.
Okay, like
everybody knows somebody, but it's not like a cohesive.
It's not like they were one gang that did it together and like everyone knew what was going on.
They called it in opening statements. They call it they quoted the Jungle Book. That was the start of the trial. By Rudyard Kipling, which was really a choice. And they talked about the wolf pack, and they said Young Thug's the head. They're only legal if you get caught, Scott. They said that Young Thug was the leader of the wolf pack, And the last witness, the state's last witness, the head like detective, she said, "Oh, there's no leader in this gang." Years later.
Wow.
But yeah, it was just kind of this flexible, these guys know these guys. And
I feel like they spun a wheel, and if they got their name, they're like, these are the 28 guys that we pick. Like,
yeah. There is one guy who's legitimately mentally very unwell, and he like couldn't sit well during the pretrial, and he kept like moving his hands and making crazy gestures.
Oh.
And it's like, this guy is not hanging out with the rappers. Like, you will not convince him. He's not in the VIP. Like,
yeah, he's not the VIP.
No.
This ain't the guy. He's not the one. Yeah.
It was just.
You start to feel bad for those people because like.
There were a lot of people that were used that were defendants, like the 15-year-olds. They were. One of them's named Redelius Ryan. This is actually such a tragic. If you look him up, the first thing you find is like a missing child report, and then the next thing is like his arrest for murder and his prosecution. He got convicted, but the thing, remember I said that he was essentially like being tried again for the same thing.
Yeah.
So this time it was like Young Thug's lawyers and Gotti's lawyers and basically all the best lawyers in Georgia that are like cross-examining the same witnesses who had just testified and put him in prison for life. And the witnesses got like absolutely shredded. And
wow. Well, he's 15 years old, right? Or like maybe even under 20.
Yeah. And he's, if you just like look at him, he looks like he's a baby.
Yeah.
And
that doesn't that seem really, really young to go to prison forever? Your brain's not even fully developed until you're 25.
Yeah, 15-year-olds are idiots. Like, have you spoken to one? They're just.
I've raised two of them.
Yeah, if you met 15-year-old Amy, you'd be horrified. Yeah,
I have a
lot of times too.
I have a 26 and 20 or 25 and 22-year-old, and sometimes I don't wonder how they've made it this far in life. And I was their parent, so
yeah,
I can't imagine. Like
in Massachusetts.
Go ahead, Amy.
In Massachusetts, I believe that the law changed at one point, and 15-year-olds who commit felony murder or like first-degree murder don't actually get like life. Like if you were over the age of 21, from what I forget, there's like a new law, not new but newish. They can't actually spend their life in prison. So.
See, in Florida, they
so there's some type of hope for them.
Child committed with like felony murder under the age of 18, you can get life, but you can't receive the death penalty. So
we don't have that here anyway.
They've changed it because I don't know if you guys remember, like back in in 95, there was the vampire murders in Eustis, Florida, where the guy Rod Farrell was the guy that did it, and he lived in Kentucky, and one of the girls, her name was Heather, was his girlfriend, and her parents, they lived in Eustis where I grew up. I knew that her older sister, which is Jennifer, and they came down, and him and like two girls, another guy came down, and they went in the house. They bludgeoned her dad to death on the couch, and then like her mom got a shower and he killed her. And Heather was in the car, so she knew about it. And then they took off in their vehicle, but they changed plates at the mall down the road from my house and took off and like with new plates. And they got caught in like Alabama. And Jennifer's the one that found them when she got home from work that evening. Found her parents dead. And Heather never got indicted by a grand jury for some reason they believe she didn't know, but all of the other people who were charged in the crime who received long sentences, and like Rod Farrell got the death sentence, they converted his to just life. So, and it's just, I mean, they all say that she had a part in it. I don't know how she got out from getting in trouble, but I mean, It's a bad murder. If you look it up, it's called look up Rod Farrell. You'll be like, what? I mean, I grew up in Tavares, which is where the courthouse was for the county, and that's where they did the trial and everything, and they held him in the county jail there. And so I worked ironically at an Irish pub named O'Keefe's that was right next to the courthouse, and so all the attorneys came in there, and I knew a lot of the defense attorneys for the case. One of them came in. There's a lady named, have you ever heard of Aphrodite Jones? She does like books and stuff like that.
Yeah,
she's
absolutely.
on like ID channel. She's a bitch. Yeah. Just no. She's a
disclaimer.
She is a cunt.
Don't come for me, Aphrodite.
She is a cunt. I was her waitress every night, and every night I almost threw her drinks. And I say drinks because she would ask for orange juice, tea, coffee, and alcohol, and they almost all went over her head. She's every time I see her come up on like ID channel, I'm like, nope, turn it off. So I don't want to hear anything about Aphrodite Jones.
What channel is she on?
She'll show up on like a show on
Discovery ID. She has like a show, like a true crime show or whatever. I just want to get into Amanda's thing. I lost my best friend. He was unalived, reloaded 13 times. Wow. Wrote a book in prison, said so much about the crime committed. I'm pretty sure that people can't actually make money off of crimes they committed, like, and are convicted of. As far as I know you can't hear. Actually, the reason why I know that the law changed was because I had a friend that was first degree unalived in high school here in Boston. And the kid was under the age of 16 when he committed the unaliving. And he is out. He got out a long time ago. He only ended up spending 9 years in for first degree. It's very sad.
I am so sorry about your best friend.
Yeah, I'm really sorry about that. That sucks. The guy also sued the state of Maine, trying for early release. Wow.
Practice Satanism.
How do you sue if you were convicted? Isn't that like a...
Olivia said above her, he's tried to sue the state of Maine to practice Satanism.
What?
I think you can just do that.
Look at Olivia's post.
You can just sue? Wow.
I think you could put like habeas or something, like a habeas petition. It's technically a lawsuit. I don't know exactly what the procedure is, but
each state's different, I'm sure.
Yeah.
The law went in. Oh, hold on one second. Scott is a retired NYPD detective, a homicide detective. He actually is going to be on our show tomorrow at 9. Nice. Those laws went into effect because of the son of Sam here in New York. Oh, really? Tell me more.
It would be a great time is to have you and Scott at the same time one time.
I know.
That would be a fun time too.
Sure.
So if where you're from California and you're going to be representing someone in the state of Georgia, or you're going to be helping out with that, is that something that you have to show up for hearings like Alan Jackson and all that kind of stuff, or do you do
Pro Hoc Vice?
Pro Hoc Vice?
Yeah, I got approved yesterday. Actually, I got the order. I tried to fill out stuff and say that I'm admitted in these places. I'm actually from Maine. I don't know if I said that, but I'm from Maine.
Oh, no, you didn't. He is a Maynard, a maniac, as my father used to call him.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm from Portland area. No, I just had to fill out paperwork and give lists to courts I'm admitted to appear before. Not like the Jay-Z, Tony Busby, Southern District thing where it just makes it up out of nowhere.
Yeah.
But places where I'm actually admitted to practice. And they approved. I don't have any discipline publicly.
Oh, so they proved you like that. They didn't pull a Bev. They like, no, that's amazing.
Bev didn't
just to clarify, I don't think we did earlier, the person that you're going to be representing, and it's an appeal process because he was already convicted, and then he didn't say what he wanted to say. No, can I ask you a question though? I feel like if you're like, you need to say these 16 bullet points, right? And then he didn't say it. Unless he like refused to, I don't know how it is. That seems like, and his mom was sick and everything. It seems like being coerced into what they, You know, like you're coerced into try. And then if he didn't say them, oh fucking oh, like
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
yeah, and that's
You're
why you jumped
100%.
on, right?
Well,
Well, one of the
yeah,
reasons.
that was one of the reasons. There are a lot.
Yeah.
There are a lot of
Yeah.
reasons.
I mean, it has to be a lot of very good reasons for you to rearrange your
Yeah,
whole
I
life
would say.
to do
Yeah,
that.
it's
That's not an easy decision.
so here's one public one. I can't remember if I told you this or not. So the funny thing is, like, my entire strategy, if they look through my like deleted tweets, it's all on there. That's how I started tweeting. So I hope they don't do that. But
That's
it won't make a
hysterical.
difference if they do. But
Don't
so when he was at his revocation hearing, they like read through his criminal history, and one of his past convictions, it was not, but one of the convictions they said was, it's not clear exactly whether they said aggravated sexual assault or attempted aggravated assault, and that's not true. That didn't happen, and they made up several other past convictions. So as far as like prejudicial made up
Wait,
convictions,
it's not on his record at all?
it's not true. Like I verified that it's not true. It's like really easy to verify that it's not true.
That's like a big claim.
Yeah,
Big
and it was
claim.
like they give the indictment number, so you can just look it up. It's all public. It took me like I knew the indictment number already because
I'm going to. That's crazy. Shame
Yeah.
on them. So, I mean, this just goes to show that it's not just Massachusetts. It's not
Yeah.
just Massachusetts that because people want to like use this as an example, but this is happening all over. This is happening down in Georgia. It's happening everywhere. And if you look hard enough for cases, you're going to find it happens a lot. Because
But for
people
me,
that's why the Innocence Project started, because there's people that stay in jail. There's a guy here, Sean Ellis. He was he spent 25 or 30 years in Trial 4 on Netflix. Yeah. So where I'm from in Boston, it's there where he was convicted. He was accused of unaliving a cop, and the guy had a stutter, and he was coming out of the Walgreens. Yeah, dude, if you haven't seen Trial 4, you should definitely watch it.
Not to mention I have seen it, yeah.
Yeah, and he spent all that time, and he had 4 trials, hence Trial 4, and he ended up getting out, but he spent his entire life because he was like a teenager when he was and it was back in the early 90s in Boston, and that was a tough time for anyone that was not white. And so he's out now, and he's an advocate for other people for his type of Innocence Project, and he's doing really well. But there's those cases, and I love when people are like, I'd rather get one person off that's guilty than put in, or 50 guilty people than put one innocent person in jail. Yeah. It's so true.
It's people like you that give me hope for
the
world.
Because you're hoping good people.
Yes,
you deserve it. It's fine.
No, but it's people who are willing to put themselves out there for other people, change their lives to help them. Like, that's a big deal, and it gives me hope for my kids. And so I personally thank you for that, because even if something, not to say my kids are out there committing crimes but they could be accused of doing something that they didn't do. And I've lived this sheltered life until the last few years. I've always watched like true crime, but I think to me, true crime, it was separate because it was on ID channel. And then I watched every one of them on ID channel, and I was like, well, now what am I going to watch? And that's how I got watching. Once I started watching court cases, it's like my world just opened up to this scariness that you realize is happening every day, everywhere around you. And like Karen Reed I could be her. My kids could be one of the kids from YSL. And
absolutely.
Just because they know of somebody who knows of them, you know what I mean? Because they intertwine, and we don't. I might be blind to it.
That's horrifying. That is horrifying. You could be in someone's call log, and then all of a sudden you're like, I mean, not really. I'm being but you could have no part at all, and then you get up hemmed up. No, not really. I'm being. but like then you can get hemmed up, and then you have a record now, and you have all of these things. And like she was saying, thank God for people like you who stand up and do the right thing. It gives you hope that there's still good people that are like not out for.
As a mom, as a mom itself, like it's scary as hell. Not even as a person. Like I know this stuff's out there and everything, but as a mom and having 2 grown boys, and then having a 19-year-old daughter, and now my 2 younger boys are 11 and 9. Like, I mean, not so much Liam.
That's a lot of boys.
It's a lot of kids.
That's a lot of boys.
I'll tell you, I've done my job of populating. Yeah, I have 4 boys. Don't ever want to name a boy again because it's the hardest thing to do. I've taken all the good names. And then, but yeah, so when I had 2 in my prior marriage, and then he had 1, and then we had 3 together, but I lost the little girl I lost between my 2 boys. So, but Liam has nonverbal autism, cancer, epilepsy, and he's legally blind. He'll have to be taken care of by someone his whole life. I don't think that he'll ever be able to functionally live on his own. He might be able to go to like an autistic like place that has where they can kind of have they have roommates and they have their own little place, but about like that. But he'll never be. I don't see him ever like gaining the functions of someone not enough to go out and to live on his own. So and I'm not dumb to it. Like I know he's so smart. I mean, he's brilliant, but the functionalities of it is different for him. And then being legally blind on top of it, and it's hard. So, but for me, like at least with my 3 boys, it literally like it's scary as hell to think that they could just be pulled into something because they know somebody. So, I mean, and
it is.
And that's the way the world is. And like, I don't know if I just have had blinders onto it, or if it's just the court cases I've watched have opened it up. But even at that, like even us with the Karen Reed trial, like because
where I come from, like growing up in Boston, it's very, very normal to see people get arrested for no reason. And they're back in the day when like cops would put like have drugs on them and blame you, and like because you were like a problem child and stuff like that. I grew up with a lot of that, so I've never, and in Boston's been known for being corrupt for a long time.
Yeah, see, I don't feel like
that's that too. And so like your con's chronically like scared for your kids. All right, you guys, I actually it's been 2.5 hours, and I just want to thank the happily angry lawyer from X. Go and give him a huge follow. Go over there and follow him. He's absolutely hysterical. And I just want to thank you for popping on with us tonight and spending so much time with us. And you're welcome back whenever. I'd love to talk Karen Reed, because apparently now we're not gonna have any information coming out. So there's that. But yeah, so thank you for hanging out. And then if you guys want tomorrow night at 7, we're going to have retired NYPD detective Scott, the mod extraordinaire for the Karen Reed movement on, and he's going to ask any law enforcement questions that you guys have, and we're going to have a wonderful chat with him. So,
wait, I think there's at 9. Was it 7?
What was that?
What time is it at?
Tomorrow at 7.
It is 7. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, and if you're around, Hal, you should come up with us and come up and have a chat. Have a chat with Scott.
Hang out with us again. Yeah, I know we're crazy. I mean, most of the time, most times just us just kind of chit chatting away and having like a feral night talking about stuff. So
yeah, we'll go fast.
And as you can tell,
did go by fast.
We have some feral people in our chat, Glen Lake.
Yeah, these people are wild. Dude. Bye, Olivia. All right, guys. It's been real. We will see you on the next one. Bye, Hal.
Bye, Hal. Thank you.
Bye.